Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Added Time FPL, the #1 fantasy Premier League football podcast with South Africans from Canada and the UK. Once again, it's the stat. I've checked it. I've just watched the pod, just finished editing the pod, and we've got some crazy content for you today. We're talking about Saka captain against Southampton at home. We're talking about whether you should keep Haaland in your team because of the bereavement leave that he's been on. We're talking about whether you should consider captaining PALMER after the haul that he just had. So lots of stuff to talk about. Mike's going to be talking about whether he should be playing his wild card or not. So suggest watching this video, leaving a comment, liking it, and let us know what you think. So without further ado, let's get into today's episode. If you listen for the first time, and if you're watching for the first time, thank you very much for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. We're up to 124 subscribers now, which is actually kind of wild. We had a bit of a spike growth, so keep that train going. Don't forget to like on this video, comment down below. At the end, we're going to ask you guys about your teams, and subscribe and share it, because I am now in the top 18,000 in the world of 10 million players. So clearly, we know what we're talking about. Mike's also out there.
Well,
just
when we
haven't checked
say
his rank.
we mean Nate, because I don't have that type of ranking. So he's just cleaning us out here. And I asked you guys to help me, and no one wants to help me. It's the story of my life. This guy's taking everybody by storm. But
Yeah,
I mean, if people are knocking on your door now.
They are. We had a shout out to Shamlin, who is an undercover Chelsea agent, but he captained Cole Palmer, who had an incredible haul this week of 25 points. By the way, like I said, it's true to my word, we haven't done badly yet, so I'll still be wearing the t-shirt.
And just on that note, Shamlin is a Man United supporter, and the memes, the jokes about Man United being in the I think they're in the toilet right now are just crazy, man. If you don't support us when we lose, don't support us when we lose again.
I was chatting with some Spurs fans towards the end of last season, and they were like, it's good that United won the cup because it's all part of the master plan of United's downfall, because they're going to keep the manager and they're going to do horribly this season. They're not going to compete. And I mean, it's proving its point so far. So.
Yeah, Man United are in trouble, and there's a couple of scenarios playing out here. Either Ten Hag's already been fired and he has one more match before the international break, or they've hired so many Ten Hag players and staff members that they're going to see it out till Christmas and see if we can get to Christmas and see if things get better before Christmas and then fire him then. But either way, things are not looking good for Man United. They've been put to the sword by Spurs. They look inconsistent at best.
So on the inconsistency, great word for this past game week, because it's been a bit of a dramatic game week, because the standout captain pick, which was a bit controversial, and you, my friend, had a thought to go with someone else who you didn't go to because you had so many thoughts going on in your head. You just kind of locked in Haaland. Haaland blanked. Silas scored. How does it make you feel, Mike? Tell us.
Vindicated because my ideas are good, but frustrated because I didn't have the time to carry it out.
Of the labor, yeah.
It is very frustrating, and it's frustrating on the one hand, but the table started to take shape, mate. And if you look at it, like, Liverpool are top of the table, have one of the best defensive records so far. Their defenders are all the best defenders to have. The attackers are sharing out the goals, which is the problem for FPL. So I'm very interested in this table, how it's shaping up and how it's going to impact things moving forward. But Chelsea had a brilliant week, eh?
Mate, I'm so buzzing. We've had a great week. I hope we can. I'm sure we'll come into Thursday and beat Ghent. We'll see how that goes. But remember, we used to have that little tune that we used to say, "Top of the table." I'm waiting to sing that tune again.
But anyway. Just on that, I was looking at a stat for Chelsea, and we're gonna pivot to Cole Palmer in a bit. But Chelsea front four, so that's Sancho, Jackson, Palmer, and Madueke. That front four has been involved in 23 goal involvement. So that's 23 goals and assists across 6 games.
Yeah.
Right? That front four is on fire.
And
3 of those front four scored hat-tricks.
Exactly. And I wanted to say, I saw an interesting little thing when checking the most player points of the past weeks. Chelsea have 4 out of the 6 game week slots for the most points per player. So it was Madueke, Sanchez, Jackson, Palmer. Chelsea cooking,
and then speaking about Palmer, he's right now the FPL GOAT. He was a budget pick last season that scored to the top. And he's had a quiet start to the season, semi-consistent, but now he's pulled it through with this like breaking records, game week 6 scoring for fun. Let's talk a little bit about Cole Palmer. Is Cole Palmer a must-have? And I think the answer is yes.
I agree with you. I think it's yes, which is why I brought him in on my wild card. I know
Who
you
did you
plan on.
sacrifice?
I know you plan on bringing him in for your wild card. Who did I sacrifice? I rebalanced my team and I had Wisa, Ja Pedro, Haaland, so I had a cheaper front three, so I could afford the Salah Palmer combo. I got rid of Saka to move to Palmer, which was proven to be an okay move so far, but it is something drastic. Last week I got rid of Salah for Saka, which unlucky he got his assist ruled out. Not the worst play. You gave me confidence because I was very depressed at missing my returns, but you were saying my plan was for 3 weeks and I should just stick to it. And yes, it is. And Saka goes and scores midweek now tonight or yesterday, whenever this video is out. Same for Kai Havertz. So interesting things there. But Salah's form was
in
proven.
a roundabout way. I know that it didn't really directly work like that for you, but as your team stands right now, you don't have Salah, but you do have Palmer and Saka. Therefore, in my mind, Salah is who you sacrificed, even though it's in a roundabout way,
to get those other
Palmer,
players in.
Saka.
Yeah.
So, do you think that is a good move for this week? Is because many people are now chasing the points and bringing in Cole Palmer, and the only way to afford that is to sell Saka or Salah. Who do you think you should sell, Saka or Salah, to bring in Palmer? Because that's what everybody out there is trying to do.
It's a tough decision. Considering Palmer's form, though, playing against Fulham at home again, and they've got a good run, they're not going to be affected much by the international break, unless Palmer gets called up, but maybe he gets a groin injury again. Who knows? But having said that, I would lean towards Salah because the only thing I have to base it off was when he went on international break for Egypt, came back and blanked. And they don't have an easy fixture. They have Chelsea. So that's the toss-up as well. Palmer or Salah, they could both score points. But based off what I know, I would say Salah because of the break in form.
When I look at FPL and I want to choose who to bring in for this game week, I look at not only who's doing really well, but who's doing so badly that you can expect them to catch a hiding. So which of the teams, Nate, do you think we should be looking at that's going to catch a hiding this week because their form is so poor?
Can make the top 5 whipping boys of the Premier League. So I made some notes. I see your list. So for you guys out there, the list is Everton, Southampton, Ipswich, Crystal Palace, and Wolves. All teams that we've seen horrible defense from. Crystal Palace being very weak with Anderson moving on. From what I've seen, I made a little comment and it's a bit cheeky against Southampton. I said even United can beat them. Sorry, fans. Apologize, please.
I told you United's in the mud, but United's not wrong. Okay, Southampton are probably the worst of all of those teams right now. They have their joint worst starting record in the Premier League. That's
with
like
Everton
4
as
losses
well,
except for 1 draw.
Yeah.
At least even Everton, you can say there's been an upturn in their form. They seem to look a little better.
Yeah.
They seem to have something about
they
them
needed
that's
that draw
pushing them
against
forward.
Villa. Really. Well, I mean, they should have won, but was it Villa?
If I was going to choose Arsenal versus Southampton, Arsenal at home, and Everton versus Newcastle and Everton at home, I literally think Everton could turn up against Newcastle, but there's no way Southampton's turning up against Arsenal.
Yeah. Well, sorry, I just read my notes. So Everton beat Palace, and next to Palace, I wrote even Everton can beat them. Lol.
As for Palace, everybody at the beginning of the season, I stand on that one. That I'll call it as a win for me. Everybody was like, "Easy in Palace is going to rock."
Easy as
Palace is in the relegation zone right now, my friend.
Yeah.
Now, if you are looking at that, that's why Arsenal's a good team because they're playing Southampton. But a team that's on my mind right now that's had a brilliant start to the season has just started to dip is Brighton. What do you think we should do with our Brighton assets? Because I know you had Pedro, I have Welbeck. A lot of people have Brighton assets. They did really well, but the last 2 games they've looked shocking.
And that Chelsea game really put the nail in the coffin, I think, on their form run. I think they're going to start struggling to rebuild. Considering it's a young manager, he's not had experience in the Premier League. He's been doing great, but now I think it's starting to catch up with him, and I'm not sure how he's going to deal with it. And I would say holding Pedro and Welbeck for now is a bit of a stretch. I think you look to move him on. No, there isn't.
Not much at 5.7, 5.8. There's nothing in that bracket to straight replace them for. So
Which is why I
I
think they'll
would.
hold value as well. Like, I don't think they're going to go down in value because who do you swap them out for?
I'm pretty sure Spurs are going to annihilate them this weekend, even though they're playing at home. But it's one of those matches where I think Brighton's the type of team, they will still score goals, but they will lose games.
Mm, mm.
So, like, maybe it is worthwhile just holding on to them for at least a week or two just to see how it turns out. Because they are going to score goals.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But they're not going to win matches if they continue with the form. So yeah, keep your Brighton assets for now, if because there's no better option, and maybe look to wildcard out or a 2-3 free transfer out of a Pedro Welbeck plus a midfielder into a better forward.
Yeah, I would say if you're wildcarding, rebalance for sure.
Yeah, which brings me to the best forward option that I can think of is Watkins. How good is Watkins right now? How good is his form?
Yeah. Was it a goal and an assist last game?
He's outscored Haaland in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
If you total their points up.
He's
That
finding
tells you all you
that
need to
old
know.
Ollie Watkins form from last season. So he is worth a pick to look at. Unlucky Villa drew against Ipswich. I'm going to say fair play to Ipswich for sticking it out, but in reality, Ipswich should have won that game. But anyway, Aston Villa versus United at Villa Park. Sounds like a United defeat, if I'm going to be honest, based on the
It
form
sounds
record.
like the end of Ten Hag. That's what it sounds like.
What are they sacked in the morning?
Another a 3-0 defeat to Man United.
Ollie Watkins bracing the John Duran off the bench.
You heard it here first.
I can see it happening.
Just to round off the segment, the Liverpool dilemma, because you trashed all your Liverpool
except
for Trent,
which was a mistake.
And,
but anyway,
maybe because
maybe
there are 4 Liverpool assets, and do you want to even get rid of Trent? It's Salah, Jota, Dias, Trent. Like, should we be having 1 or 2 of them? Should we just get rid of them as they go into their tough fixtures? Considering they're top of the table, they have an attack sharing goals, and they have a defense that's the best in the league right now.
Yeah, personally, for me, I took a bit of a gamble, but it was a calculated gamble in the sense that I knew Arsenal's returns for newly promoted teams were pretty good, and they were playing at home. Leicester, newly promoted team, they beat them 4-2. So they don't just beat them; they steamrolled them. Havertz scoring goals in the last 30 seconds of the game. So I thought, let's move away from Liverpool because Arsenal's fixtures are just better and they are contending consistently for the title. Liverpool has always been hit and miss. We spoke about this off air and like in our WhatsApp chats, is that Slot inherited a very good Liverpool team. We haven't seen Slot ball yet, unless it's just the same. But we saw what happened when he experimented against Forest. They went and lost at home. So consistently wise, I backed Arteta's team. It hasn't been hasn't not paid off yet. We'll have to see. But for me, I think it's time to move away from Liverpool players. It's difficult though because Salah's 12.8 million, and it really questions if you want him back in January, can you afford him? So
the answer is no. There's no more money
unless you get rid of Haaland, which is not happening. So
not really. And just heads up to everybody. And this happened last week too. This is the one main reason why I didn't want to captain Haaland, but I just didn't take it off in time. The first game of the day, lunchtime in the UK, is always a game that throws up weird results. That Haaland blank to me is a weird result. And that is a result of football players, sorry, if depending on where you're from the world, they have traditions in how they prepare for matches, and they struggle to eat carbo load a whole lot of pasta for breakfast when they're playing lunchtime.
Yeah,
they prefer playing after lunch after they've hit their routines. So their first game always throws up some weird results. And even though I said get off the easy train. Palace are rubbish. Liverpool are flying in the top of the table. If there was a game that I could see Liverpool losing, it's when they start lunchtime away to Crystal Palace. Right?
And Easy goes and scores because we've said get rid of Easy.
Yeah, and I can tell you right now, I'm not. We'll talk about captains later. I'm not captain Salah just because of that. Because it's the first game.
And there's too many better fixtures to consider, to be honest. But it's a good argument.
Now we're talking about our teams. Tell me about how you felt about your team. What's the worst thing that happened to you last week with your team, and what do you think you want to do moving forward for this week?
Looking at the team at face value, nothing's really wrong. Robertson, clean sheet, lovely. Unlucky Saka assist ruled out. Rogers scored twice in a row, hauling. We love to see it. Keep bringing Captain Rogers. The trend's starting. I can feel it. We got Mbeumo scoring, playing in that number 9 role, looking as fire as ever, I must say. Wissa might have to go wide. Palmer scoring 4 goals in 40 minutes. Are you insane? Are you kidding? Havertz scoring a late winner for me. It was looking pretty grim. The only downside was Haaland. And for me, it was always going to be Haaland because I didn't really have anyone else. Who could have predicted a Palmer 4 goal? No one.
Yeah, I think your next captain choice was going to be Saka, I think.
Yeah.
So either way, you would have got the points you needed there.
Unfortunate Harwood Bellis on my bench who scored a goal, which was quite interesting to me. But he scored nevertheless. And then Face just doing nothing because they played against Arsenal. So overall, happy with my team's performance. I will be saving a transfer this week because I don't think I need to make any changes. And I think it's...
No, you've got the Arsenal double up. You've got Bremer and Rogers on form. You've got Palmer that's GOAT levels. I think Smith Rowe is probably the tricky fixture for them this week against
that's the only one I'm a bit annoyed about, is that I have to field Smith Rowe versus City. But
it would be nice if you had João Pedro playing.
Exactly.
And Welbeck in that slot. Even if Welbeck's going to get 2 points, there's a chance he could score.
Exactly.
So that probably is the only thing that I would say if you were going to make a decision, but it's not really worth wasting a transfer.
But I will be starting Face from Leicester for the first time this year. So that'll be interesting to see. They play Bournemouth at home.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because I mean, I got Harwood Bellis and playing against Arsenal away, and I've got Robinson playing against City away. So there's no point playing those players.
Well, my team was same problems as you, except I chose to go Jackson over Palmer just because I wanted a differential against you, and it didn't pay off.
You know what it really could have? I must say, Jackson could have had 2 goals easily that game.
Jackson missed 3 goals. He could have had a hat-trick himself.
Yeah.
He was open goals too.
Could have been the 7-2 game.
I think at the end of the day, Palmer is a must-have. We've said this already, but right now, I can't bring in Palmer unless I wildcard, so I'm not getting rid of Jackson because on this week it could be Jackson's hat-trick week, right? We had a hat-trick from Palmer. We had Madueke.
It's similar to Liverpool. There's a rotational haul.
Yeah. My only problem is if Jackson had this not such a great game and Nkunku keeps firing midweek, does Nkunku get the number 9 start, right?
And that's time to bring him in because Nkunku's been dropping to 6.3. Jackson's now 7.9, if I'm not mistaken. He rose again last night. So definitely something to consider.
So I'm keeping Jackson this week, but I'm in the I don't have Palmer, and I'm hoping that Palmer kind of has a quiet game this week so that I can wildcard into him the week later. Now, you not making any changes this week. For me, I had this big question and I've been asking you. If you had to bring in one either midfielder, defender, or forward this week that you knew was gonna haul this week, who would it be? Which defender do you think is gonna haul this week?
Defender.
Give me one name.
Let's go.
A defender that could haul.
I would say Gabriel. Southampton at Emirates, clean sheet, most likely, and a potential set piece goal.
Nice. I've got him already, so I'm good there.
I don't like you because I don't have him.
And he's gone up to 6.2. Midfielder. Wow. Would you say he's the best midfielder to bring in? Who's going to haul this week? Who is hauling this week?
I'm going to give you 2. 1 premium, 1 budget. My premium pick would be Saka.
Yes.
Saka scored tonight or yesterday.
Whenever you listen to the podcast.
Whenever you listen to the podcast.
Tuesday.
We're filming Tuesday night, so he scored tonight, but it's coming out tomorrow, so it'll be your today, but it was yesterday. Anyway, Saka scored from a set piece, direct free kick. Amazing goal. Really good stuff. And he's on the corners, and I think he's still on pens, especially with Odegaard not being in the team. So there's always that option for set piece. I think if I had to go with anyone, I'd go with Saka, who is my current captain choice, which we'll get into a bit later. A bit of a gamble this week, I know. What is he doing? With Haaland and Fulham at home, what do you do? Anyway, we'll talk about it. My my budget pick would be Mbeumo. Why do you not have him in your team yet? He's playing against Wolves at home as well.
He should be...
Yeah. Just a quick 22%. Like, come on, guys.
Where are the other 78% of people doing?
Where are you sleeping? Watch Added Time FPL. Come on.
And then forward... I got a note there about Jackson. I got Jackson already. I was thinking about either Watkins, Havertz, or Solanke. I'm like 0.1 short to bring in Solanke.
Yeah, shout out to Solanke. 2 goals in the last 2 weeks. Fair play to him. Is it that Bournemouth form yet? I don't know. He's looking comfortable, but it's not an easy fixture.
Brighton.
I wouldn't say that's easy fixture yet. We need to see how Brighton bounce back.
Defensively, Brighton are weak now.
But we need to see. That's the thing. We need to see how they bounce back from the Chelsea defeat to see. And if this game goes in Brighton's favor, we know Brighton's the real deal this season. If it doesn't, I wouldn't really worry. But I would say I'm not gonna say Kai Havertz because I have him. Our team has him as well. Shout out to Mike for making that transfer. Fair play, really good. Other than Haaland, who is already like 73% owned, which is the obvious choice, I would say a must-have forward for this week. I would agree with you, and I would say Ollie Watkins.
Yeah, Watkins is looking on course to. He's ready for that big haul that's going to come, right?
Yeah, the English manager is going to be
So
watching that game and is going to start Watkins because of
and
Harry
it is
Kane's
against
injury.
United, and United are so inconsistent. You don't know
I
who's
know.
turning up.
And
They could
oh,
save Ten
quick
Hag's
one.
job.
Highlight: Bruno Fernandes's red card got reversed, so he's going to be playing.
Exactly.
So now it's not just a Bruno Fernandes-less team. Whatever.
Financialist.
Bruno Fernandes. Yeah. So
And then just before we move on to captains, Nate, I got 4 players here that are on my watch list, and I want you to tell me how you would rank them. Okay.
okay.
Semenyo from Bournemouth,
Ooh.
Rogers from Aston Villa, McNeil from Everton, and Madison from Spurs. If you had to put them in an order, what's your order of the best player for the rest of the season, or for at least the next 3 weeks, versus
Ooh.
not? Like, which one of those is on your watch list?
McNeil
How
is
would you order
such a
them?
good player. Wow. I really like that.
5.5.
I really like that. I am going to say Rogers number 1. Rogers is just class. Like, we've watched him play under 21s. He's now starting to haul. I think Rogers is the pick. Rogers can become the Cole Palmer from last season. Remember, Cole Palmer was 5.5. I think Rogers can
Yeah.
do that, especially where he's playing for Villa. I think if Rogers is on a team like Liverpool or Arsenal or City, he's easily a 7 mil midfielder, I think. So for me,
Yeah.
Rogers is number 1. The McNeil pick interests me, but I think he's just at the wrong team for him to become a valid pick. So I'm going to put him
That's
in that. I'm going to put him last, though.
But it's 2 double-digit hauls the last couple of game weeks.
I know, but like this is the thing. He needs to prove that he's actually like hauling consistently. I know it was against Villa. He scored and assisted, and then he blanked, and then he scored 2 against Palace last week or this past weekend. Good player though, and it's definitely something Everton need. And clearly, he won the game for them, so he's probably saving Sean Dyche's career at the moment. Madison's an interesting one. I still rate Rogers above Madison. I'm going to put Madison at 2 just because of the team he's playing for. And I think when Son comes back into the team and they can get the chemistry right and Postecoglou sorts his stuff out because they've been struggling, I think they're in a better spot than United. So I think they can still come back and do something.
Madison has the greatest XG outside of Haaland.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I think if Madison's still at Leicester, I don't play him. But because of the team he's at, I think I'll rate him higher than above. And then Semenyo last week against Southampton, he goes and scores. So it's a good outside pick. I know a lot of people brought him in on the wild card. He's that new budget option. But again, it's Bournemouth, and they have Arsenal coming up, and then they have Villa coming up, and then they have City coming up. So it's like, I don't really jump on this. I changed my answer, McNeil and Semenyo swap. So it's going to be Rogers, Madison, then it's going to be McNeil, and then it's going to be Semenyo.
Perfect. Those are really good players to watch. They all decently priced, so you could probably all bring them into your midfield at a decent swap. Madison being the most expensive, and I think McNeil being the cheapest out of them. At 5.5, McNeil offers probably the best price per points ratio this far in the game.
Yeah.
And then lastly, to round everything off, captain choices. We already hinted
the tasty.
Saka.
Well, currently. Okay, Haaland scored on Tuesday. Getting good. Haaland scored on Tuesday. Got taken off. We were worried about whether he would start. He's probably going to start. I mean, he only played like 65 minutes or so. And City also have a late kickoff. Not the late kickoff. They have the normal 3 o'clock kickoff.
Yeah, Fulham don't have the best defense. We were lucky every time we thank the lucky stars every time Robson comes with his clean sheet.
Exactly. So
he's wiped out the end of the game.
He's probably honestly the favorite, I will say. For me, I have a dilemma.
What about Palmer?
That's my dilemma. I have Haaland against Fulham at home. I have Palmer against Forest at home, and I have Saka against Southampton at home. All those players can haul. Palmer, I'm gonna go on the side of it's time for Jackson to haul, because knowing what we know, being Chelsea fans, Maresca ball, fighting for positions. Nkunku's going to score a brace against Ghent on Thursday. And Maresca's going to say, Jackson, you've got a chance to prove something. Otherwise, Nkunku's starting. Jackson's going to score. We said it with Madueke.
You have all three of those captain choices.
I'm sorry, did I just make you a bit sad?
You have all three of them.
I'll put a screenshot of my team. Yeah, my midfield is cracked this week. Roger's at home, Saka at home, Buemo at home, Palmer at home.
And the only one you don't have is Salah, which I've already said to everybody is probably a bad pick because he's playing away from home in the morning fixture, which means he's probably going to score a hat-trick.
Yeah.
Knowing my luck.
Like I said, I think we said it with Madueke. He's got through a hat-trick. I said to you, he's not going to do it again because Chelsea just rotate the ball around and obviously everyone's going to mark him because he just got a hat-trick. People brought him in. He didn't haul. What do you know? I think the same is going to happen with Palmer. I think Forrest's going to go and look at that Brighton game and think, shit, we need to mark this guy out of the game. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think he might get an assist if he's lucky. I don't think he's going to get another hat-trick.
I think that's why he had a slow start to the season because he has been marked out of the game.
And then Brighton probably had a lapse in competition, a lapse in concentration.
Because Brighton don't play that type of football. They play full-out attacking football with a high line.
And they got punished.
Exactly. So I don't, if not Forest.
And Forest play a low block. Yeah, they'll just play low block and just mark Palmer.
This type of game is perfect for like someone like Felix to cut through that midfield. But yeah, so those
which leads me to Saka, which is why he's currently my strongest contender for captain this week.
I think you're right. And if that's the case, I might have to take the -2 hit and sell Salah for Saka just to have that strong home fixture against Southampton because it is probably one of their best fixtures this upcoming peak, this little period. Like there's no one weaker and there's no one stronger. Like one or two teams weaker, one or two stronger.
And it's convincing because he's scoring and assisting consistently on a regular basis.
And you made the best points there. He's on penalties because Odegaard's still out.
He's on corners.
Free kicks sometimes. He's free kicks. He's running down the wing. He's doing everything. He's involved. So I think, and he lit blank a little last week. So he'll be looking to build on that free kick he just scored now and get some points. So Saka captain choice for the week. It's first week that we're not going with Haaland or Salah. We're going with Saka and maybe even a Palmer captain.
First week, I don't think for me, I'm not too upset. If Haaland scores a hat-trick, he scores a hat-trick. Well played. I have him in my team. But on the odd occasion that Saka can haul, I'm really gunning for those positions right now. Currently sitting 18,781 overall. Very close to that top 10K, which is where I want to be. So everyone's going to be captain in Haaland, so I take a differential. I think that's going to be my play this week. It's a bit of a gamble.
Suffer that much. You've got him in your team still.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of getting green arrows, currently 21 points ahead in our mini league. So you guys better make a good decision this week. And we're also up to 54 players. So don't forget to join the mini league because there's always time. And your points will just get
I'm tired of his dominance. I'm tired. Okay. I am tired. I'm like Nelson Mandela walking out of jail. I'm tired. Okay. Please. Enough is enough.
But thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to leave a like on the video. Comment down below your captaincy choice for this week. I'd be curious to know. I'm sure Mike would be as well. And if you want to, comment on who you think Mike should bring in. Should he take the -4 or should he hold Salah? We'd be curious to know. Anyway, but that is it for today. We'll see you next week.